good evening. It is Friday. It is, of course, the big show. It is Richard and Andreas, of course, Talk AWFC. It's been a busy week, hasn't it? Two really big games. We got the two results we needed, maybe not in quite the most convincing style, but the points have been won. We are now in a good position in the Champions League, and we're closing that gap on Chelsea, certainly in the WSL, aren't we? So there is, of course, another big week to come, a big game tomorrow, of course, back in the WSL, and then the final Champions League group game, of course, next midweek away in Belgium. So lots and lots to get through. And don't forget, of course, your comments and questions as well. It's all coming up the other side of this. And joining us, of course, as always, it is, of course, the Lord himself, Lord Andreas. How are you this week? A good trip to London?
Yeah. Good evening, everybody. Yeah, I'm not bad at all. And I had a good trip to London with two wins. So what could you expect more?
Well, I mean, we could have expected a bit more, but anyway, we'll talk about that in a minute. We got the two wins, and that was the most important thing, obviously. There's only one place to start, really, going back to, of course, last weekend. We talked about it on a show. We said how important a game it was, and we did finally manage to get those big 3 points. Now, of course, it was in the end the substitute, Stina Blackstenius, who once again come off the bench and had a big impact, as she's done so many times for us over the last couple of seasons, and she did it again. But you have to say that for the majority of that game, it wasn't great, was it? We didn't play particularly well, which was a surprise in a way because we got the early lead, and often you get an early lead, it settles you down, but it just didn't happen. We allowed Liverpool to equalise, and then pretty much until the goal that won the game, we huffed and puffed for much of that game. We played okay, I suppose. And, you know, Liverpool defended well. They worked hard. You know, they showed how they'd managed to get a result against Chelsea in their previous game. But what we've got to remember is they're bottom of the WSL. They haven't won a game. They've got 2 points. So, you know, they're a team that when we're at home, last season, we saw what we did to Liverpool at the Emirates. Yes, we've had problems previously to that, but you know, when we've generally played against the teams at the bottom end of the league, at home in particular, we've generally won fairly comfortably, and that just was not a comfortable game at all, by any stretch of the imagination. And in the end, Liverpool were close to getting a draw that they would have been delighted with, and we would have ended up with more frustration once again and failing to win a game that we should by rights have won a lot more easily. I mean, Andreas, obviously you was there. We've seen your vlog. I know you wasn't particularly happy with her performance either. And I mean, there was very little to be too happy about. We got the win, and that's about it, really, isn't it?
Yeah. And the problem is, in the end, it didn't feel as if we had won the game.
No.
I went out of the Emirates and thought, oh, what a terrible performance. And once again, disappointed. And then I had to tell myself, but we got the 3 points. It didn't feel like a win, and we started so well. We got the early goal, I think, after 16 minutes from Olivia Smith. Fantastic, done by her. Brilliant shoot, and we know that she can do these things and have this impact. And what happened after the goal? Everybody seems to lay down and say, oh, okay, we've got the lead and now we're going to win comfortably. No need to keep our feet on the gas, and it will be a win, and let's continue, and let's see how the game develops. So that was my feeling. And Liverpool had one chance and they scored. That's what I say for weeks now. Our opponents only need one chance, one mistake in our defense, and then it's a goal against us. And this goal from Liverpool felt so similar to the goal we conceded away at Leicester. I mean, away at Leicester, we won 4-1. There was no problem. Yeah, let them score one. But this was a similar situation. One long ball. Where is our defense? Where were Steph? Where was Lotta? Nobody there, and they don't have the pace. If a player like Olsen goes through, nobody can stop her. And then Anneke Borbe didn't do really good in this situation. She should have done better, but well, let's say she needs more minutes, or she needs to know where her teammates are. Well, yeah, the passes, the runs they make. But anyway, it was terribly defended. And after this goal, it was in the 30th minute. In the next 15 minutes, I thought, let's go to halftime with this 1-1 and regroup at halftime. So, and this says all. There was no feeling that we could score a second or at least a third goal against Liverpool. Yes, we played better in the second half. When they said she had the hardest words at halftime for a very long time. Yes, we played better. We had a lot of chances, 2 or 3 good chances from Alessia Russo. I think we hit the post or the crossbar with one situation. Then the subs came in. Stina had a big chance. She had too much time in this 1-versus-1 against the goalkeeper. And if Stina starts thinking, then it's all over. She does not score. And Liverpool, they were not threatening us. They had no chance to score. But look at Liverpool's game yesterday, away at Aston Villa. Villa won 3-0. And we struggled to win against Liverpool. Liverpool has not won a single game in this season. And really didn't find a way to score a second goal. Yes, the second goal in 87th minute from Stina was brilliant. She had no time. There was a long ball. She got the ball into her face. No handball. And then no time to think. Just turn around and shoot. And that's what Stina does best. And fortunately we won the game. Of course, if you see all the chances and the ball possession, etc., the passes, the corners, then we deserved to win. But it was a win-win, after which you say, okay, let's take the 3 points, but forget about the game. Sorry to say this, but
yeah, no. I mean, I think you're absolutely right. It didn't feel like a win because the performance just wasn't really good enough. And yes, unfortunately though, and you're kind of right actually there, because when you look at the stats of the game, if you didn't watch the game and just looked at the stats, you would think, wow, Arsenal dominated that game. Mm-hmm. Arsenal must have played well and were probably unlucky not to score 3 or 4 more goals. But the reality of the game wasn't really like that. You didn't get that feeling from watching the game that it was a really dominant Arsenal performance. Bearing in mind, Liverpool are bottom of the league, as you said. They've got 2 points all season. And yes, okay, they've had some improved performances recently. I know last night wasn't so good. But, you know, if you look at the stats of the game, and I know modern football seems to be very stat based now. Everything seems to be based on the stats as though that's what matters. And I'm not saying they're not important, but they're not the most important thing for me. What's important is how the team are playing, how they look together on the pitch, how they're interacting with each other, and all these kind of things. And I didn't feel that we had too much of that against Liverpool. The equaliser, yes, set us back. It was a poor goal to concede, like really, really poor. Another really poor goal, one of many this season, unfortunately. But it did seem to knock us a bit. But yeah, I mean, we were the better team. Of course we were. You know, we're 3rd, 4th in the league and Liverpool are bottom. We should be the better team. We're at home. Of course we're the better team. We should take that for granted. We should expect that. But it just wasn't a very flowing performance. It wasn't, the link-ups wasn't really there. The forward play was quite slow and cumbersome. We didn't create lots and lots of really good chances. Yes, we could have scored more goals. Of course we could. We could have scored a couple more goals. But I don't know. It felt very unsatisfying for me, the whole performance. And yes, we'll take the win. Of course we will, especially with what happened to Chelsea on Sunday. We'll absolutely take the win. And we're delighted that we've closed that gap. And to be fair, if someone had said at the start of the season, coming in towards Christmas, we'd be 2 points behind Chelsea, we would have loved that. We'd have took that all day long. Unfortunately, it's not Chelsea that are top of the league. And we're still miles behind the leaders. But even so, you know, taking the small wins, we are close to Chelsea. They look as though they're having a few problems at the minute as well. So we've got a chance to. This will be the season, won't it? When we finish above Chelsea, it won't be enough probably because we won't finish above Man City. But anyway, we can worry about that later. But I mean, we talk about Stina, and to a certain degree, I do agree with you. It seems as though when she's got time to think, she's not instinctive in her finish. When she can be instinctive, she's deadly. We've seen it so many times, Champions League final, one example, so many times, the goal against Liverpool. And when she has got a little bit of time to think, I don't think that's just her. I don't think that's just an issue with her. I think that's falls in general. It's much more difficult when you've got time to think because you think, shall I do that? Shall I do that? You talk yourself out of things and then suddenly the chance is gone. I actually thought Stina made a big difference when she came on. And the thing that, she gets criticised a lot for missing chances. And yes, she does miss chances. Erling Haaland misses chances. But her actually in the WSL this season, she's Arsenal's top scorer. She's second in the overall golden boot thing. And she's actually got a goal every 84 minutes she's played in the WSL this season. A goal every 84 minutes she's been on the pitch. I mean, that is an impressive record. Any striker in the world would be delighted with that record, right? And yes, in that time, she scored 5 goals in the WSL. She's missed a load as well. She's probably missed another 5. Unlucky to have one disallowed against Chelsea. But it doesn't matter. She's on the pitch. She's a threat. And if she's not scoring a goal, she's creating problems by pulling defences around and creating space for other players. And she's so important. And it frustrates me so much that she's not given more time on the pitch. And yeah, maybe she's better as an impact sub sometimes. I get that. And I accept that. She was against Liverpool. Would it have made a difference if she started against Liverpool? All her 5 goals this season in WSL have come when she's come off the bench. She hasn't scored in any game she started. I don't think that's just her fault. I think the whole way the team plays, when she starts a game, the other team are a lot more defensive. Later on in the game, it opens up more. There's more space for her to exploit and she becomes more dangerous. I get all of that. But I think she deserves more time on the pitch. But, she got the winning goal. And I was absolutely delighted for her as well as the team, obviously, because I do think that she's very underused in the team. And I think she's kind of almost unappreciated sometimes by a lot of the fans. Yes, she scores a lot of goals. And so you've got to take the fact that she's going to miss a load as well. Strikers get into positions to miss. And if they're not getting in positions to miss, then they're not doing their job. She's getting in position. She misses a few. Of course she does. I'll hold my hands up. She misses as many chances as anyone. But she'll also put them away. Give her a chance, 2 or 3 chances. She's going to score goals. And that's what you need your striker to do. She's got more goals than Leslie Russo in the WSL this season in like half as many minutes, probably less than half the minutes that she's played. And that just shows, yes, she's coming on at different points in the game. I get that. And then Leslie's dropping deeper when the game opens up and all that sort of stuff. But even so, we talk about stats. That's a stat that stands out for me. A goal every 84 minutes in the WSL. And we're nearly halfway through the season. That's impressive. Play her more, she'll score more goals. We'll probably score more goals, and we've got more chance of winning games. That's how I see it. But anyway, overall, that was pretty much the only thing that I was excited about in the game. Really, was that Stina came on and scored the winning goal, and almost proved the point that she's important. But it's not good enough for me. The performance wasn't good enough. Not really any aspect of it. Yeah, we started quite well, but got the early goal. I mean, Olivia Smith's goal, funnily enough, was almost a carbon copy of the previous goal she scored against London City, wasn't it? Almost at the same end of the ground at the Emirates, a similar type of goal, running with the ball and then shooting from distance. That's what she's obviously good at. She needs to do that more often. And she played well. It was good to see her get a decent amount of time on the pitch. But I don't know. I'm still not, we talked about it last week, that article in The Athletic. I know there was a lot of stuff in the media. They was asking questions about it in the press conferences and stuff. The players came out afterwards and said, there's no problems and this, that, and the other. But I don't know. I'm not convinced that that's the true story. I think that there's a lot more to that article that's actually real than everybody's letting on. Of course, they're not going to come out and say it, but there seems to be issues going on for me. It's not a happy camp as it was last season, and I said this the other night on the in the Twente game, which we'll talk about in a minute. I actually said this this time last year, no one would have thought we could win the Champions League. No one would have predicted it at all. We'd have been bottom of people's lists. And it's the same now. No one thinks we can win the Champions League again. But the difference was at least last season, we were playing football that you could believe in. It was exciting. We were scoring goals. We were beating the weaker, so-called weaker teams comfortably. We were playing with a smile on our face, and you could kind of think, okay, yeah, there was something to be optimistic about. And in the end, of course, we went on and had that fantastic run. This season, I don't see that coming at all. I can't see it because we're not playing well enough at any point in any game, really. When have we played well? Second half against Chelsea was good. We should have won that game. We should have scored 3 goals. But other than that, it's difficult to find really, really good performances. Yes, good moments in games. Bayern Munich first half, fantastic. You know, as I said, Chelsea second half. Moments in other games. You know, the second half against West Ham away was decent. You know, London City Lionesses in the second half was quite decent. But, you know, overall, I don't think we played that well, have we? Not all season. Not really. Not when you look at last season. How many great performances did we have? There was quite a lot, wasn't there? Now I'm struggling to find one. I mean, Andreas, can you think of too many times that we've played what you would consider to be what you expected, how you expect us to play? I don't think there's one game apart from Chelsea second half, and that was only half a game because the first half was terrible.
That's it. We haven't had a game with 90 minutes in which we played good. The first half in Munich was fantastic. You can't play better than in these 45 minutes. The second half against Chelsea was very good. We often have one good half and one very bad performance, and that's a question. I have no answer for it. Why is this team not able to bring the best out of them over 90 minutes? You play 15, 20 minutes very good against Liverpool, you get the lead, and then you see the team struggling for the next 30, 40 minutes. And in the last minutes, they're trying to score the winning goal, but not over 90 minutes. Why are we not able to perform at our top level for 90 minutes? What's the problem? Don't they want to give their everything over 90 minutes? Is this team not able for the daily business or weekly business, only for special moments? I don't know. I don't have the answers. But to say something positive, Olivia Smith is growing in the team. And Kyra, I think she should have secured her place in midfield now. These are positive aspects, and good that we didn't sell Beth in the summer window. We would really struggle now. I agree that she's not the Beth Mead she was in 2022, but she still brings a lot for the team. She's important, and with now missing Chloe Kelly, it's good to have Beth and Olivia, and then bring on Caitlin as an additional winger. We won't have her in February due to the Asia Cup, so we need everybody. And there are small positive aspects, as I said, but overall the team performance is not good enough, and that's a problem. And I think if we had the answers, we would give it, but we don't have the answers. The teams doesn't seem to have the answers, and the manager either. And for the rumors about the unrest or the problems in the dressing room, I think it was good that Lotta said in the press conference, we are all standing together and come to our training ground. You will see how good as a team we are. So it's important that the experienced players stand up and say, it's okay in our camp, and we are working on this. She can't go out and sit in the press conference and say, oh yes, the athletic article is right, and we experienced players, or we are responsible for the toxic atmosphere, and we hate the younger ones. So she can't say this. It's good to stand out, and we saw it against Liverpool, and the more I think against Twente, how important Kim Little is for the team. 35 years old, but so important to kill everything together.
And this in a way is a good and a bad thing at the same time. You know, it's good that Kim Little's now fit again, and that's going to be important, but it's bad that we're having to rely on a player that's in the twilight of her career and is still this important to the team, as though we haven't looked at replacing her at all. We've got nobody coming through. When she's out of the team, we miss her so much. And yes, that's because she's an exceptional player. Of course, that's the main reason for that. But it's not very good planning for the club moving forward when we're relying so much on a player who's at the end of her career. And it's not just her. Obviously, we've said this before. The age of the team is too much, and this is going to be a problem, because we can't replace 6, 7, 8 players in the squad with younger players all in one go. as they said years ago on Match of the Day, you don't win anything with youngsters. And I think in women's football now, that would be not the right move. You couldn't just suddenly throw a load of younger players in, get rid of all the experienced ones. That you needed to do. We needed to start doing this 2 or 3 years ago. Start rotating it and rebuilding slowly, and we haven't really done that. And now we're in a problem where we're going to have to probably do it all in a very short space of time to enable us to step up to the next level. So, but anyway, I mean, I suppose we got the win. Maybe Lotta's right. I'm not necessarily questioning the players, but there seems to be something going on. And the Athletic article coming out maybe has given us all something to think about, and maybe start to join a few dots and think there must be something in it. I'm not saying it's necessarily 100% accurate, but I think there's something there. And maybe it might be a good thing, because it might mean that the players, it makes them switch on and think, you know what, maybe we do need to look at ourselves a little bit. Maybe we can make things better. So maybe it might not be such a negative thing, that article. It could actually end up being a positive if it kind of does pull everyone together again, which seemed to have been happening last season, but not so much this season. Top Shelf's with us. How you doing, my friend? Good to see you. Greg says, hi all, the win's a win, but our wingers aren't looking for the striker. Once Ford came on, we weren't going to score. Yeah, we know you love Caitlin Ford, Greg. 170 gunners with us. Big ups all their drafts indeed. Top Shelf says, score could have been much higher. It was one of those games where the ball was not going in the back of the net. Did we show enough urgency to put it in the back of the net, though? I'm not sure if we did. Yes, we could have scored a couple more goals, of course, and then it would have looked a comfortable victory. 4-1 looks good, doesn't it? On the move says Mariona. Well, yeah, where is she? That's a good question, actually, because she certainly disappeared from last season. John's with us. How you doing, John? Good to see you, our friend. Greg says, to be fair, Stina was making some good runs, but the players are trying to look good rather than look for the run. Yeah, she did make some good runs. She always does make some good runs. Sometimes too early her runs, and she's offside. She was offside again a few times there, but sometimes it's because the passes are a little bit late as well. Pass the ball earlier and she's in, and sometimes we hold the ball for 1 second too long. She's already made her run. She's offside. She's trying to think ahead and get ahead of the defender quicker. But anyway, actually, this is quite a big moment on the show. Look at this. We have got Terry is back. Terry is back with us. I don't know where you've been, my friend. It is good to see you again. He says, good evening, Richard. Lordy, good to be back. I've been able to have my views that you probably ain't going to agree. No, we're happy to have you back, my friend. You can say whatever you like tonight, because we're pleased to see you. It's been a long time. We was getting worried about you. Everyone was getting worried about you. The amount of comments we've had. Where's Terry? Where's Terry? What's happening? Terry? Is he okay? So we're glad that you're back and you're safe and everything else, which is good. Great to have you back with us. John says Stina's goal was a worldie, a rocket from outside box. Yeah, it was absolutely brilliant goal. It was a brilliant goal. Absolutely fantastic. And yes, she should have scored one before that one when she ran through, and it was this defender got back and blocked it. I thought she was a bit unlucky there, to be fair. Top Shelf says it was a great goal. DFD says this part of the season is hard. To be honest with you, all parts of the season are hard, aren't they? Let's be honest. This part no more hard than others, but we've got to still get the results, haven't we? Where you got to dig in. Top Shelf says Smith looks better on the left side. Yeah, she does. 100%. She does look better there. We've said it before. Terry says, been listening every week, but out in Spain. I'm watching on TV, so can't comment. No worries at all, my friends. Good to have you back. LG says, difference is Haaland or Bunny Shaw don't miss easy chances often, which Stina does. It's not about her missing chances, but the frequency of misses. She needs 4 chances to score, which is frustrating. Well, not always. Some games she'll come on, have 1 chance and score. Other games she'll come on, like against Liverpool, have maybe 2 or 3 and then score. But that's the nature of a striker. And I do think Haaland and Bunny Shaw do miss big chances as well. Do they miss as many big chances? I don't know. Have either of them two scored a winning goal in the Champions League final? I don't think they have. So, you know, in big at 3 cup finals she scored in the last 3 years, semi-finals she scores in. Do those players regularly do that? No, they don't. So you could say that actually she doesn't miss the big chances in the big games. She scores in the big games, and maybe in the lesser games is when she maybe misses more chances, when you'd expect her to score more goals against Liverpool or against Brighton or someone like that. She'll miss the chances, but then you throw her into a cup final against Chelsea or against Barcelona and she'll score a goal. How many chances did she have in the Champions League final? 1. Put it away. You know what I mean? So, you know, yes, she misses lots of chances, but she scores when it matters the most. On the move says Stina missing chances or too many offside. Well, yeah, obviously offside as well a bit, although a couple of them wasn't actually offside when you saw the replay. But anyway, Terry says not much has changed. Is everyone in the chat frightened to hit the like and subscribe? But yeah, well, they needed you, Terry, to remind them. That's what it is. That's what we've missed. LG says, I've always said Olivia Smith is a Ballon d'Or caliber level. She won't achieve that under the current Arsenal structure. We should build the team around players like her, not Bethany. Well, I can't agree with that. Yeah, she's the future, clearly. And maybe that's what will happen. And she's getting more minutes now, and you can see what she can do. So maybe that's what is going to happen. But yeah, at the minute, I kind of agree. We should be building more around her and her talent rather than just trying to fit her in, which it seems like we've done so far. But she's a new player to the team, so maybe it takes time. Top Shelf says there's about 4 or 5 contracts coming up. I feel there'll be big changes in the new year. Yeah, they're right. It was mentioned in the press conference, wasn't it, about that the contracts that are up and stuff like that. I'm not sure we'll see too many changes in the new year in January. Obviously, next summer might be different because a lot of players are out of contract. I don't think they're all going to sign again, so they're going to be on their way. We'll have to replace them. So there could be some big in and outs coming up in the summer. Absolutely. I'm not. There'll be 1 or 2 in January, I would have thought. I'm not expecting there to be lots in January. I think it'll be more at the end of the season, but we'll see. Greg says, roll on February. Hopefully, Ford will learn to cross the ball, or that doesn't come back. I'm sure she'll be back. Andreas says, hello from Sweden. You are too negative. Can't stand it. Luckily, I can watch handball championships instead. Oh, look, come on. Don't be like that. We're just being realistic. It's no good pretending everything's fantastic when it isn't. Where does that get you? Doesn't get you anywhere, does it? All it does is it's you can live in a fantasy world where you want everything to be great. We all want everything to be great. At the minute, it's not. And we're just being honest. And there's nothing wrong with that, is there? Terry says, in January, we should put every Arsenal player up for sale, apart from DVD, Smith and Reed. See, now that's a bit harsh. I think that's a bit harsh. But maybe a few more than that we'll keep. On the Move says, I still think Leslie Rousseau is too good for this current team. I don't know if she's too good for the current team. I don't know. I mean, she's obviously very good, but I don't know. Terry says, I feel sorry for Lordy. Yes, he's turned into Matt in the last few weeks. Oh dear. LG says, our other problem is that we lack pace in the team. Yeah, there are too many players playing at the same slower tempo, which makes us predictable. Mariona does too, but her exceptional skill set makes up. Well, it does make up for it sometimes, not as much this season as we were hoping for. Greg says they'll hopefully get our first trophy in February. Yeah, of course. There was that news today, wasn't there? That World Club Championship, whatever it's called, World Cup thing, is actually going to be played in London at Brentford and at the Emirates. The final and the third place game will be at the Emirates. So if we do get to the final, which I expect we will, we're going to be at home. And that's an advantage, isn't it? And, FIFA or UEFA, whoever it is, UEFA aren't silly, are they? They know that we're the team that's going to fill the stadium. So play it in our stadium because they know it's going to sell out. They'll make money off that. And it was a sensible decision from them from a financial point of view. Obviously, it's a great decision for us because it means we're at home. And that's a big advantage. Whoever we have to play in a final, I would expect it to be probably Gotham, if I'm honest. But who knows? Stranger things happen. And that'd be a great game at the Emirates, wouldn't it? Arsenal against Gotham. I'd look forward to that. That'd be great. And, it is a chance to win a trophy. 170 Gunner says, is Asia Cup same time as the World Club Cup? Is it actually the same time? Because it's the end of January, early February, isn't it? The World Club Cup. I think the Asia Cup's after that, isn't it?
The Champions Cup is 28th January to 1st February. And as far as I remember, the Asia Cup is late February, early March. Yeah. But there will be a camp, so maybe they will be out for 4 to 6 weeks. But the Champions Cup in London, I read that FIFA first wanted to play it in the USA, and especially in New York and Washington, and Arsenal gave their veto and said not during the running season. We are in the middle of the season. We play 3 days before the semi-final, and we can't fly to the USA and play 3 days later and then play the final or the game for third place, and 3 days later be back in London and play another WSL. So it's impossible for us. And then the decision was, okay, then let's play it in London. And of course, the final at the Emirates, I think FIFA is hoping that Arsenal qualifies for the final, and then it will be sold out. It will be interesting anyway. Gotham, the current title holders in the US, very interesting, but they are in pre-season. On Monday the ticket pre-sale starts, and I hope to get a ticket for Brentford and for the Emirates, and then I'll be there. I mean, for my credit card, it would be better if they play in China or in the US. I wouldn't fly there in January for a Champions Cup, but if it's in London, I have to be there, no question.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that is going to be a great game. Should we be there? But yeah, Greg says, I don't think the Asia Cup will worry us as much, and not one of the Australian players is that good. Well, I think Kyra's been doing better lately, hasn't she? I think Steph's proved to be a decent leader in the team in Kim's absence. I think, she's done a decent job. And I think Caitlin Ford always works hard. I know you don't particularly like her, Greg, and rate her, but, I think she works hard for the team. She's a useful player to have in the squad. So, I think we'll miss those three players. We will. In the squad. I mean, hopefully we've got enough to get through those games anyway, but I do think we will miss them, in different ways, all of them really. But yeah, I mean, let's see what happens with that. LG says, we've dismissed Man United for the top three positions, but they've acknowledged they need depth in their squad in January, and they're looking to sign Leah Schaller from Bayern. She'd be a good signing, actually. She's a good player. I like her. John says it'll be, if we play Gotham in the final, I think you haven't finished that, so yeah, we'll come back to that then. And Terry's just agreeing with Greg about the Australians. What a surprise. I have missed Terry. I really have. So, yeah, I mean, that was Liverpool, obviously. We won the game. And, yes, at the end of the day, Chelsea only got a draw with them. And Chelsea ended up losing again at the weekend. So, it was an important 3 points. And, yes, finishing above Chelsea might not be enough this season in the way that it goes. John's just finished that now. He said, if we play Gotham in the final, watch out for Batman. Yeah, and Robin, of course, as well. But yeah, we definitely have to watch out for Batman. But yeah, we've won the game, and I suppose that's the most important part of it. We've said plenty of times we'll take a scrappy win. Unfortunately, this season, pretty much every win's been a scrappy win. I'd like to see a nice win once in a while. Would be nice, wouldn't it? A nice free-flowing performance where we play well, we score loads of goals. Doesn't seem to be happening much. And of course, in midweek, we had another opportunity to maybe do that against a team at home. We was massive favourites to win at Meadow Park. And again, it was a little bit scrappy. Now, of course, we just mentioned Beth Mead before, and of course, it was her goal very early on. Another early goal, which is supposed to be a platform. I said that before. Get an early goal, it settles you down. You can, especially at home, you can grow into the game, dominate the game, and go on and win comfortably. Is usually the storyline when you get an early goal. There's 2 home games in a row now. We've scored early, and we haven't managed to finish the game off, kill the game off. Yes, I thought against Twente, we maybe could and should have scored a few more goals. I thought that was a better performance than Liverpool, slightly better. It still wasn't fantastic. It was better, an improvement, and that's all we can hope for, I suppose. But I was disappointed because having got the early goal, I honestly thought we'd go on and win 2 or 3, to be honest. It was a perfect platform for the game, and it didn't quite work out like that. Twente had 1 or 2 moments. They were very physical. Obviously, Jill Roord getting stuck in against Arsenal, as you would expect, as she generally does. And in the end, obviously, it was an important 3 points. And that's, again, the most important thing. But for me, it was another performance that maybe asked more questions than it actually answered. But we got the win. I mean, obviously, Andreas, you were there again, of course, another great vlog. But what did you make of the performance overall? Because it was better than Liverpool, but it still isn't how well we should be playing with the players we've got. We're champions of Europe. We should be going out and making statements in these games, especially at home, winning 3 or 4-0, and we just, like Barcelona do. And yes, okay, Twente worked hard. They were organised. They were physical. But I don't know, it was a little bit of a not quite their performance, wasn't it, again?
It was better than against Liverpool. And once again, we get an early goal, this time after 9 minutes. And so after 30 minutes or so, I thought, oh, this Twente team is so weak. They produced nothing. They had absolutely no attacking actions, nothing creating. And the the middle of the first half, I thought, we are 1-0 up and they are so weak. So if not now, then the longer the game goes, we will score a second or third at least. We didn't do. And yes, you have to say, Twente played really dirty. A lot of fouls, and I think Olivia Smith is the most fouled player in WSL and Champions League. It's terrible. And there were 2-3 scenes where a yellow card was a must. And then Olivia is getting booked for a tackle where she clearly placed the ball. It was absolutely no foul, absolutely nothing, and she's booked for that. So terrible refereeing again, a dirty Twente team, but our performance, yes, a little bit better than against Liverpool, but not good enough for European champions. There was another scene in the second half when Anneke Borbe got injured. This was a dirty tackle from the Twente player once again. Normally, you should be fair and see, I don't get the ball, and then you jump over the goalkeeper and not go in a tackle with your feet to the goalkeeper's head. In this moments when the medical team was out, etc., I thought, if we have to bring Amy Lydiard on now, she's cold. It's her first game in an adult team. She's only played for academy teams for the U19 or U21. Then we have a problem. And fortunately, we could continue. But this was a really threatening moment. And we still have 3 more games in which we have to pray that nothing happens to Borbe. And I think there would be the possibility of an emergency loan like Chelsea did last year when what's her name, Gira Musovic announced her pregnancy, and their second goalkeeper was injured, the young Dutch one, and they only had Hannah Hampton. They signed I think Spence or so as an emergency loan, and she was registered for the WSL and for the Champions League, and this is allowed. We are not doing anything. It's risky. Anyway, on Tuesday everything went okay. We won. We deserved the win. We were the better team, and I think in closer to the end we controlled the game, or we managed to win the game. Maybe the team saw we missed chances to score a second, so we have to manage it to bring home the 1-0, and it was not in danger as in other games. So but anyway, should we be satisfied with a 1-0 against Twente as European champions? No. Satisfied with the 3 points, but once again, not with the performance.
Exactly, yeah. And I say these are games last season. These 2 home games last season, we would have probably scored 3 or 4 against Liverpool. We'd have probably scored 3 or 4 against Twente. And that's what we did do in those exact type games. So something's clearly not quite clicking this season, is it? Something's not quite right. It's not working. Yes, Mariona being deeper probably doesn't help our attacking play as much because, she's not being as effective in that final third as she was last season. And I don't know, there seems to be a lot of things not quite clicking. But I suppose if you don't play particularly well and you keep winning games, you've got to be reasonably happy. But that isn't, for me, that's not sustainable. At some point, you've got to start playing well as well. It's all very well scraping wins here and there all the way along, which is fine. But as we said before, most of our wins this season, in fact, pretty much all of our wins this season have been fairly scrappy. The performances have been scrappy. We've kind of scraped it over the line. If you remember the Brighton game at home, for example, maybe Leicester away was a little bit better. That was a better performance. Maybe that's one of the only ones. But yeah, most of our wins have been quite scrappy, haven't they? Benfica in the Champions League was a really scrappy one. This was a scrappy one. But 3 points is 3 points. And when you look at the league table now, we've definitely qualified for the playoffs as a minimum going into the last game, which is good. The minimum that we needed was to qualify, obviously. And yes, we've still got a slight chance of getting in that top 4. Seems unlikely, but we need to win our last game and hope for the best, I suppose. But at least we've made it into a knockout stage anyway. Even if we might have to do it the longer way round, then we maybe hope for at the start. But considering we lost 2 of the first 3 games in the group, we haven't. Suppose we turned it around quite well in results, but yeah, the performances are still lacking for me. They're still lacking, and we need to improve in the second half of the season when everything's decided in the second half of the season. All the cup competitions are decided. That's when you got your big games whether we're going to finish in the top 3 or higher, whatever it is. All of that's decided in the second half of the season. And if we're playing like we are now, when those big games come around, I don't give us much chance of getting enough good results in those games when it matters at the moment. But there's time. We've got a January transfer window to come. Maybe we'll get some surprises there that might help us. We have got a few players out missing at the minute, injured. Chloe Kelly being an important player that's out as well, which doesn't help. Obviously, the goalkeeping situation we've mentioned doesn't help, I suppose. But, it needs to be better. The second half of the season needs to be better for me. And whether we end up winning trophies or not, again, if we can see an improvement in the performances as the season goes on, then at least that's something to cling to, isn't it? And say we can see we're heading in the right direction. For me, this season so far has been a massive step back from last season, even probably the season before. And the season before that, in many ways, it feels like a step back. We don't feel like we've moved forward, do we? We've won the Champions League, but we've not moved forward. None of the performances this season have been an improvement on anything that we've seen in the previous 2 or 3 seasons. In fact, I think we've probably played worse this season so far than we have in the last 3 or 4 seasons in total, I think. But we are starting to get more positive results now, which is good, I suppose. But yeah, it's still not quite good enough for where we want to be. Greg says, again, it was a game where everyone wanted to score and not looking for the openings. Yeah, I kind of agree with you. Top Shelf says they have to foul Smith because she's going to beat them. Well, yeah, exactly. She's a dangerous player. They don't know where to stop her. John says 20 plays like there was 20 of them. Well, yeah, they did seem to be getting in our face. 171 says Fall's a good dribbler, but she's slow. Well, I don't know if she's slow, but she's a good dribbler, yeah. Terry says there, the only threat against FC Twente was Rene. Greg says, what's wrong with Rene? He's thinking of bringing Stina on for the last 3 minutes. You see, I didn't get that. When there was about 15 minutes to go and it's 1-0, I was thinking, get Stina on. She can get the second goal, kill the game off. But then when you get into the last 10 minutes and less, you're thinking, is it risky bringing a striker on when you're only 1-0 up? You want to win the game. And then you're thinking, not whether we could bring her on at all. And don't bring her. I was expecting her not to come on at all. As disappointing as it is, it seemed to be the right decision because we're not hanging on for 1-0. It was only 1-0. And I'm thinking, we don't really need to bring Stina. If you're going to bring Stina on, bring her on with 15 minutes to go or don't bring her on at all. It was crazy bringing her on that late in the game. What was the point in that? Absolute waste of time. You want to give Leslie a rest? Fine. Give her a rest with 10 minutes left, 15 minutes left. Don't do it a couple of minutes to go when it was pointless. But yeah, that baffled me. I was scratching my head thinking, what are you bringing her on now for? The time would have been 10 minutes earlier, if at all. It was strange. But anyway, it didn't seem to make too much difference in the end. We've got another comment there from Joe. She says, I thought we tried really hard, but Liv was treated appallingly and the booking was shocking. Yeah, it was, yeah. The ref was poor, but it pains me to say Mario was so poor with losing the ball again and again. Yeah, that's been the story of the season. But really, when you think about it, this was happening last season as well, but she was further up the pitch, so it didn't matter as much. When you lose the ball in the final third, okay, it's not great, but it's not disastrous. When you lose the ball in your own half of the pitch, then it's more of a problem, isn't it? Because it leaves us exposed, and that's happened a few times with the goals we've conceded. They've not all been down to her, but it's you don't want to be losing the ball in those areas of the pitch there. That's why she needs to be higher up the pitch, because she's a risk-taking player. And when you take risks as a player, you're going to lose the ball sometimes. And that's fine. We didn't have a problem with it last season. Well, some people did, but generally we didn't have a problem with it because of what she could do in the times when she didn't lose the ball. And it was up that end of the pitch anyway. Now it's becoming more of a problem when she's doing it in that deeper role. She's not the right player for that role. It's obvious, and yet she still keeps playing her there. I don't understand it. But anyway, hopefully that might change in the next few games. LG says it was the first time in a long while I've seen Ford put in early crosses in the box, which was a pleasant surprise since she's always half a second too slow, which usually gets her crosses. But yeah, it takes an extra touch quite often. You're right. LG says Man United might be unseeded in the playoffs, and we might face them, assuming we get seeded. Well, yeah, I suppose we could do. It'd be nice to knock them out, wouldn't it? That'd be nice. Terry says we could replace ball bar with a water bottle. I thought that against Liverpool, that goal that they scored. She seemed to stand there and watch it go past her. She died about 10 minutes too late. But anyway, she kept a clean sheet. She's only letting 1 goal in 2 games. You know, okay, she hasn't had to face many shots, but you know, you can only do what you can do as a goalkeeper. LG says I see Lyon, Barca, Real Madrid, and Chelsea getting top 4. We will qualify from the playoffs and get Madrid and repeat everyone. Well, that's very optimistic of you, my friend. I do admire your optimism, but I'm not convinced that we can have the run we had last season just because we're not playing as well, quite honestly. Honoru says we didn't have Chloe Kelly last season, but we were playing better and winning easy. No, you're right. That's true. We didn't have Chloe. Well, for the first half of last season, we didn't. We had her in the second half of the season. Joe says Ford isn't slow. No, I don't think Ford's slow, no, but she holds onto the ball for too long. So it makes the move seem slow when she's got it sometimes, when she could cross it earlier. But yeah, the other night was better. LG says Liv is the only one who gets tripled on. Yeah, because she's the threat, isn't she? John says there we had a poor start to Champions League last season and battled our way to the final, but I can't see us repeating that unless we go up a level or two. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, we're not playing well enough, are we? Last season, as I said, we couldn't have expected we could win the Champions League, but at least we were playing football that you could see an improvement and you could see something might happen. This season, I don't see that at all. Every game I'm watching, I'm waiting for us to start playing like we did last season, or at least show some signs of it. And every game it's finishing, and it's like, where's this Arsenal team gone? Where's that Arsenal team gone last season that was scoring 4 or 5 goals every single home game? Where's that team gone? I can't see it. It's not there. And that's frustrating because we should be, I'm not saying you're going to do that every game, but we should be playing more and more performances like that. We should be throwing them in every now and again at least. Do you know what I mean? But we're just not, are we? But anyway, we won 2 games. We won the 2 games that we needed to win. You know, we said last week we had to win them both, and we have won them both. So we can't grumble. Well, we can, but we can't grumble too much because we've won the games. And at the end of the day, anything other than those 2 victories would have been really, really difficult in both competitions. So the fact we've got the 6 points that we needed is fantastic. And it is something we can build on now going into these next few games in the run up to Christmas, which, you know, three games in 3 different competitions to come. If we can win them all, then, you know, that's going to at least put us into the Christmas break, the winter break, in a lot more of an optimistic mood. But the performances for me do have to improve. There's no doubt. We can't keep on scraping through. It's not sustainable. It isn't. I know Chelsea seems to have made a history out of it recently. They seem to scrape through every week, but we're not at that level to be able to do that. Unfortunately, we drop down, and we tend to drop points too many times. But yeah, 6 points out of 6 in the week. We've got to be happy. Only 1 goal conceded, despite the goalkeeping problems, despite having, you know, defenders out. So yeah, let's be satisfied, but let's not get too excited. Let's keep our feet on the ground. We've got the 6 points we needed, but we do need to improve. And of course, tomorrow is a big game, and we are going to have to improve tomorrow because we know what Everton did last week. So Everton did what nobody's done for a very long time and beat Chelsea in the WSL. Very, very shock result that was. I couldn't believe it, actually, to be honest with you. I think we was all in shock when the result was finalised and Everton had won 1-0 away at Chelsea as well. Incredible. But, of course, as much as I enjoyed that, it suddenly started dawning on me, we play Everton next. Which, you know, probably isn't the best time to be playing them when they're on such a high. But having said that, you know, this is a different game. They're at home. It's a Goodison Park on a big pitch. I think that suits us, to be honest. And, you know, we've got a pretty decent record against Everton anyway. And they're a very hit and miss team. You know, they can easily lose 3 or 4-0 one week and then beat Chelsea the following week, for example. So it's difficult to know what kind of Everton team we're going to expect. But having won last week, I think we need to be very cautious about this game. I don't think we can take it for granted at all. Usually, I'd say Everton away, we'd probably win 2-0, 3-1, something like that, no problem. But the high they must have got Everton for winning that game last week, and the confidence they would have got from that, knowing that they could keep out Chelsea for 90 minutes and hang on and win 1-0. I think that was a big statement from them, and I think that we need to be really, really on our game tomorrow. Really, we're going to have to play a lot better than we did against Liverpool. We're going to have to play a lot better than we did in midweek. Our away form has been a bit hit and miss at times. So, yeah, probably not the ideal time to be playing Everton, actually. I'd rather maybe they had someone else to play first, get that out of the way, and then maybe we could play them when they've come back down to earth again. I mean, Andreas, obviously we were delighted with their result last week. It was fantastic. But suddenly now, we've now got to play that team that done so well last week. And I'm a little bit worried about this game now.
Yeah, at least we have to take them absolutely serious. And yes, you can say we dominated Chelsea in the second half, and we should have won, or with a good or normal referee, we would have won against Chelsea. But Everton did this away. They did this at Kings Meadow, and I can't remember. Was it 2019 when we won the league that we won last time at Kings Meadow? So this is really a big thing to win there, and they will be full of confidence. And I read a statement from Sorensen, their manager. He said we have beaten the champions, the current league champions. Why shouldn't we beat the European champions next? We are playing at home. Yes, that's it. They have beaten Chelsea away, and now they are at home against us. So why should they go into the game and say, "Oh, we are afraid of Arsenal and we will probably lose"? No, they will have the confidence and say, "Oh, let's go into the game and now beat Arsenal." And we have to be concentrated, and hopefully we have to perform for 90 minutes, not only for 30 or 45 minutes. Be concentrated in the beginning. Don't fall behind. And if we score an early goal like we did against Liverpool or Twente, then build on this lead and score a second, bring it home, and look at the table. We are only 2 points behind Chelsea. They are on second place. It's about Champions League qualification for next season. I don't look at Man City. 8 points. The gap is too big. But 2 points to Chelsea, 1 point to United. But we are level with Spurs, and behind us is London City. I think 3 points behind us. So it's an important part of the season, and we need these 3 points for the table, not only for our confidence, but also for the league table. I checked Everton's results. They lost 4-1 to Man United. They lost 3-1 to West Ham. But on the other side, they only lost 2-1 to Man City. We lost against Man City 3-2. So and the last one, they've beaten Chelsea. So don't underestimate them. It will be a difficult one. I hope that as Everton is playing at home, they can't play the low block or park the bus in their own box. And with the self-confidence, they will try to create something by themselves, and this will open space for us, for Olivia, hopefully, for Leslie, or if Stina gets some minutes. And the Mariona thing, I agree totally with this, that she plays too deep and she loses the ball too often. In the Twente game, I was sometimes sitting there and thought, oh, not Mariona again. And then she was, for the first time in months, she was subbed off early. I think this was also a result that Renee or the coaching staff was seeing this problem, that she loses too many balls. Let's play her on the 10. When Kim is ready to start, I would start with Kyra, Kim, and then Mariona at the number 10 position. And of course, Kim won't be ready to play 90 minutes. But if possible, I'd start her. Because against Liverpool and especially against Twente, I had the feeling with Kim on the pitch, there was a lot more organization in our team. And yeah, she wins so many second balls or wins the ball back, and if she's under pressure, she finds a way to protect the ball and play to a teammate. The only one who can do this is in our team, Leslie Russo. You play a long ball from behind, and if you find Leslie, she will take the ball down and protect it, and then look around. No other player can do this. Yeah, a lot of words, but yeah, let's be confident and hope we take the 3 points away at Everton. Last Saturday after the Liverpool game, I would have said no, we will not be able to win there. But now, with a few days have passed after the Liverpool game, I say yes, we will win at Everton, but it will be a nervy one again, a 2-1 to the Arsenal. But
yeah, I think it will be a nervy one again. I think it's inevitable. It's inevitable. I do feel playing at Goodison Park does maybe suit us, as I said, more space, better pitch, and yeah, we should hopefully be able to exploit that extra space. Maybe we're used to playing in stadiums like that. Obviously, we play at the Emirates all the time, and yeah, that's. I'm quite pleased about the fact it is at Goodison Park, and but yeah, it's going to be tough. There's absolutely no doubt about that. It will be a really, really tough game, and if we're not switched on properly, if we're not concentrated defensively in particular, it could be a really, really difficult. Going on with the we go. So let's have a look. We've got a few score predictions coming in. Terry says, "Can you honestly see us winning all 3 games?" Well, yeah, potentially. Well, let's win the first one first. That's what I say. Joe says, "Goons, I think we'll claw our way through to the final stage of the Champions League because we're dogged and determined. Also, I think Lotta needs a massive shout. And I think Lotta have been playing well. I agree. We said this last week. That's what I kind of agree with you there. Terry, back to his usual self. He's going 5-1 against Everton tomorrow. That's what we like to see. We've missed those score predictions, Terry. We definitely have. Greg says, yeah, Everton won but offered nothing we should be worried about. Well, you say that. Nothing. They beat Chelsea. No one else can beat Chelsea. So we should be worried about that, if nothing else. I agree. But that performance from them, they got the goal quite early in the game. And then they just did what they needed to do and defend it. If it was 0-0, if they hadn't scored the goal that early on, it would have been a different game. It would have been, but they got that early goal and then just thought, well, all we're going to do is just defend it now for as long as we can. And in the end, they managed to defend it for the whole game. It would be totally different against us. I mean, if they score early against us tomorrow, then it might be similar. They'll probably try a similar tactic, won't they? But if it's 0-0 or we get a goal, it's going to totally change the game. If Chelsea had scored the first goal last week, there's no way Everton would have won that game and come back and won 2-1. But the game wasn't like that. The game was the way it was. And that is what I'm worried about. It could be like that again. If Everton score first, that's a problem for us because they, it is. There's no doubt. So it is. There's something to worry about. They didn't play massively well, but they did what they had to do to win the game, and that's sometimes all you need to do. Top Shelf's gone 3-1 to Arsenal. Greg's gone 6-1 to outdo Terry, of course. Why not? Honourable says, against Everton 2 seasons ago, we gave away a potential Russo winner with the last header of the game from a corner. Yeah, we did. I remember that game. That was really frustrating, wasn't it? Right, last second of the game, we'd worked hard to get ourselves 1-0 up, and then we conceded a daft goal at the end. But that's just typical of what we do at the minute. LG says, Everton away is a potential banana skin. Absolutely. Don't forget, City barely scraped a 2-1 win against them at Goodison as well. So it's going to be tough. Yeah, we're definitely going to be tough. Terry says, Everton keeper beat Chelsea. Well, yeah, the Everton keeper played well. But she might do well again tomorrow against us. Who knows? Keepers tend to play well against us, don't they? LG says, we've also had a few draws against Everton in recent seasons. Yeah, I mean, we drew 0-0 at home last season, didn't we, for example? You like that 1-1 draw away from home. Was that the same season? I know that was the season before that, wasn't it? Greg says, the ref gave Chelsea every chance to get a draw. I bet she's not getting her Christmas play. Well, it wasn't the referee's fault, was it? Like you said, that the referee did as much as was possible to help them. It was not the referee's fault. They can't blame the ref, can they? Joe says, we'll beat Everton. Chelsea have actually been ragged this season and have scraped 1 goal advantage wins. Yeah, that's true. Chelsea will not win the league and Everton expose their weaknesses. I agree with Lordy Lord. Good stuff. Yeah, well, yeah, no, I hope you're right. I do, but we need to beat Everton first. Joe says, play Kim in the 6 and Mario as 10. Yeah, exactly. I think we've been saying this for all season, basically. That Mario should not be playing in that 6. It's just not. It's not helping her. It's not helping the team. It's not what we need to do. LG says, I've not been impressed by Palova at all this season, if I'm being honest. She's not been the same since her injury. She needs to up her game. Yeah, see, she's every single player that's had the ACL injury, when they've come back, first of all, they're nowhere near as good as they were. And we've almost got to accept that's going to be the case. And I'm not saying you should write them off for a season when they come back, but we're never going to expect to see Leah Williamson the same. Obviously, Beth, we know about. Laura, we never really saw much of her again after her injury, did we? Hopefully, Katie Reid and Michelle can come back. They're a bit younger. Maybe that's an advantage to them. You know, maybe we'll see. But I agree. I wouldn't say I've been disappointed with Vicky Palova. I've been a little bit frustrated with her performances, but I understand that she's coming back from this big injury. She was brilliant the season before when, you know, I thought, in fact, I voted her our player of the season before her injury. I thought she was brilliant. And yes, she's nowhere near as good as that this season. She hasn't been nowhere near. But I'm prepared to give her the benefit of the doubt because of the injury that she's had. She was out for nearly a year. It's tough to come straight back. It's going to take ages. It's going to take a while. But you're right. She needs to step her game up, and I'm sure she will. But yeah, she's not been the same player. Absolutely not. But then it does take time. Terry says, okay, yes, we were crap, but this is Everton, a walk in the park. Well, I don't know about a walk in the Goodison Park. Agneta says, 4-0 to us. See, look, we're getting some more positive predictions now. Now Terry's back and convincing everyone we're going to win easily. That's what we like to see. John says, I think Everton will be overconfident and we'll get a 3-0 win. Wow, this is going well, isn't it? 170 Gunner says, play Mariona on the wing, Smith up top, Russo in the 10. Oh, that's an unusual line up there. I don't know about that, actually. If you're going to play anyway, you wouldn't play Olivia Smith as a striker when you've got Stina on the bench. Smith should be on the left, Mariona should be in the 10, and Russo should be number 9. That's probably how we'll start. That will probably be the right one. Joe says, I agree. Palova was like a headless chicken against Twente. It takes 2 years to get back to form. Beth has proved that. Yeah, and Leah as well. Well, some of the guys got a 3-2 win. Well, a 3-2 win would be okay. We'd take that. Scoring 3 goals would be nice, actually, in one game. I can't remember last time we did that. Agneta says Stina 2 goals. Yeah, if Stina gets on the pitch, she'll score. I've got absolutely no doubt. If she's given enough time, she'll score. You know, she's only a couple of goals behind Bunny Shaw in the Golden Boot race. Get her on the pitch. Let her score 2 or 3 goals. Let her get ahead of Bunny Shaw before Christmas. That'll be good. I do think we'll win tomorrow. I do, and I do think that it won't be easy. Everton will be organised. They'll rely on defending. We're not scoring lots and lots of goals. We're not creating loads and loads of good chances either, generally. But I think we'll have too much for Everton. I think playing at Goodison's a good thing. I think we'll be able to exploit the spaces. And we have got players who can come off the bench later in the game and when Everton are getting tired and stuff like that. And I think that will be our advantage, our squad depth. So I think we'll, in the end, we'll win 3-1. I do think Everton will probably score because we are conceding some daft goals most games, and I'm not convinced by the goalkeeper quite yet either. I've got to be honest, but it's early days. I'll give her an opportunity. But yeah, I think we'll end up winning 3-1, and yeah, it's going to be another important 3 points. Terry says I'll drop Russo and play Stina up top. See, I'll kind of do that as well, but it's never going to happen, is it? It's never going to happen. Joe says, give Stina 15 minutes and she'll score. She's our star striker. Exactly. See, that's the sort of comment that we like to see because that's right. Give her 15 minutes, she'll definitely score. Absolutely. There's no doubt in my mind. She'll definitely score if she's got at least 15 minutes. And I'm sure she will get on in this game. This is a game that's going to be suited to her. I think it will because Everton are going to be very defensive. But it's going to open up space later on in the game and it'll be ideal for Stina then to come on and get the goal. LG says Palova now seems to be just another player in the team. At least Beth has shown flashes of brilliance here and there, even though I'm not her biggest fan. Yeah, but Beth's had an extra year to get back and recover. You know, Vicky's, this is her first season back, really, isn't it? I know she played a couple of games at the end of last season, but you know, she had a long break off, and I don't think you can expect her to come back in. I agree. At the minute, she's just another player in the team. She is, absolutely. But you've got to understand she's just come back from this injury. She needs time, and we have to be patient with her. And maybe, yes, the way she's being managed in the team is probably right. She's getting some game time here and there. She's getting minutes here and there. She's starting the odd game, and she's got to build her way back in, and it will take time. And, you know, I like Vicky, and I'll say she was brilliant the season before she got injured. So I'm prepared to give her time, and I'm sure she can get back somewhere towards her best. It's just we need to be patient with it. It's not going to happen quickly. Joe says 2-0 to us, Stina and Mead. That'll do. Well, somebody going says football, they did all right. No, she did all right. I'm just not convinced by it because she's had 2 games where she hasn't had a lot to do. And she's conceded a goal that I thought she should have saved against Liverpool. And she didn't really have she hasn't really had a lot else to do. So it's too early to judge her yet. I'm not convinced because I've not seen enough of her to be convinced by her yet. You know, she's not like she's had to make 3 or 4 good saves like Daphne's done in lots of games. So I don't know. But yeah, I'm not bothered. Terry says 3-1, only watching 45 minutes. Well, hopefully the second 45 minutes, and that's when we score the goals and win. One thing Gunnar says we've got too many midfielders like KCC, Palova, Marnham, good but not good enough. Yeah, I would say at the moment that's probably a fair point, and that's a weak area of the team. We know that we're understaffed in that area, if you like, and we do need some reinforcements there. Terry says, let's be honest, Mido was trash last season, but he's showing flashes. Exactly, yeah, but again, it's the injury, isn't it? You know, and I think that she's getting better this season, and I'm sure we'll see a better Vicky next season as well. Greg says we miss a good midfielder like Volta. Well, yeah, we do, obviously. Of course we do. But, you know, she's gone. We can't worry about that now. We need to find a way to replace her, whether it's with the current group of players or bringing someone in that we should have maybe done in the summer when we didn't. We've got a chance in January now to find that player. And then hopefully the second half of the season will be better because Mariona can go further forward and it'll solve a lot of the problems, probably. LG says Vicky P, best performance since her injury was actually a return game against Leicester last season. Yeah, but I think that was probably because she was so full of adrenaline and excitement coming back, and it goes to the back of your mind. I think since then it's difficult to maintain that when you've been out for so long. Joe says, Rich, have you really got Rene out? Yeah, I put it on there for a laugh. Yeah, I must admit, I've got to be honest. She's not convinced. She's not convincing me at all. She is not convincing me at all. And these last 2 scrapey wins haven't really convinced me much more, unfortunately. I like Rene. I'm not convinced she's the right manager to take us to that next level. And that next level is where Chelsea have been for the last 3 or 4 seasons, 5 seasons. The next level is where, you know, Lyon have been and Barcelona have been, and where Man City look like they are at the moment. You know, that's where that should be us, shouldn't it? We won the Champions League last season. We should be where Man City are now. That should be us, not them. How have they got that? How have they got? Yes, okay, they've got a new manager, but how are they there and not us when we just won the Champions League? This is where we should have been. And that's what's frustrating. And I believe that one of the main reasons for that is the manager that we've got. I believe that because nothing's convinced me otherwise, you know, but let's see. I'm not really wanting Rene to leave, obviously, because, you know, she deserves this season at least anyway, but she needs to be better. She needs to be better. Joe, so I really hope that the powers that be let us sign some decent midfielders in January. Well, yeah, I hope we do. We need to sign some players in January. Let's hope we do, because that could make a big difference to the second half. Let's be honest. If we get to Christmas and we're in the top 3 in the WSL, we're very close to Chelsea. We're in the knockout stage of the Champions League anyway, so that's a positive. Hopefully, we'll beat Crystal Palace and we'll be in the semi-final of the Subway Cup. But the FA Cup hasn't even started yet, so there's still 4 good things to look forward to for the second half of the season. And if we have a decent January window and we can sort out 1 or 2 issues that we've currently got, there's no reason why this season can't be a good season, a very good season. It's just at the moment with how we've been playing, I don't foresee that happening. I foresee some more struggles before anything else. But things can change quite quickly. Absolutely they can. And if we have a good January, who knows? Top Job says that ACL injuries have ruined many careers. I'm surprised how many come back from it. Yeah, I think modern medicine and modern treatments are better, obviously. But yeah, you're right. LG says we need to get Grimaldes from Lyon. He would be perfect for our style of play. Yeah, but that's not going to happen, is it? Unfortunately, we're going to keep with Rene because, you know, that's what we've gone down that road now, and she's won us the Champions League. Greg says Chelsea are willing to spend. Our club wants to do it on the cheap. It seems to be. Terry says Rene should never have been given a job in the first place. Well, I can kind of see where that's coming from now. In hindsight, at the time we thought give her a chance, but she was doing well. LG says at least let's win the FIFA Champions Cup and the Subway Cup. It's better than nothing. Well, it's better than nothing, yes. But would that? Yeah, okay. The Champions Cup is a competition that we're not going to get the opportunity to be in very often. So let's make the most of it and try and win it. Absolutely. But if we end up with the Subway Cup, that's no better than we were 2 seasons ago or 3 seasons ago. Do you know what I mean? We haven't progressed. This season has to be better than the Subway Cup. We have to win either the FA Cup or the WSL, which we're probably not going to win the WSL unless Man City have their usual claps in the second half of the season, which they may do. So I don't know. I don't see that as progression winning the Subway Cup again. It'd be great, absolutely. But if that's all we end up winning again, that's no better than 2 seasons ago, 3 seasons ago. And it's a step back from last season. It's better than nothing. Yeah, of course it's better than nothing. But surely we should have better ambitions than just wanting better than nothing, shouldn't we? Come on. We're champions of Europe. Our ambition should be to win everything. And we've still got a chance because, as I said, we're still in all these competitions and hopefully we can have a good 2026. But I'm just not convinced at the minute. But of course, before any of that, we've got another game, of course, next midweek, the last Champions League group game, which we could sneak in the top 4 if other results go in our favour. But we need to go over to Belgium and get the win. And who knows? I mean, I don't know too much about Lovren or whatever you say it. And other than, we should beat them, obviously. They're one of the weaker teams. Well, they probably are the weakest team in our section that we've had to play. So we should go there and win. And that would, finish off the group stage in the right way. But at the moment, I'm not taking any game lightly. I wouldn't go there expecting us to win 5-0 because I don't really know too much about them. Obviously, they're in the Champions League. They must be a decent enough team. I think they're doing well in their domestic league. Not that it's a strong league particularly. They've got 1 or 2 players I have heard of, and they are decent players. I mean, do you know too much about them, Andreas? Lovren?
I don't know about their players, but I checked their results. They have played 5 games in the Champions League phase, and they only lost 1 against Barcelona. Okay, they lost 3-0. You can lose against Barcelona. Bayern Munich lost 7-1 against Barcelona, and but in the other results, they have beaten Twente 2-1. Oh, we won 1-0 against Twente, and then they drew against Paris FC 2-2 away. Then 1-1 at home against Roma, and now a 0-0 away at PSG. Paris Saint-Germain. So they can't be such a weak team. 3 draws, 1 win, and 1 lost against Barcelona. So, and they are probably qualifying for these knockout games. And they are playing at home. It won't be a walk through the park, as someone said against Everton. I mean, it's disappointing that we say we have to take a game against a Belgian team so serious, and it's not quite clear that we are going to win there. We should be so good and so confident that we say, okay, Leuven, Belgium, we travel there, and the question is how many goals we score and how clear, how easy we will win. But at the moment, no, I think it will be a difficult task. And as I said, they lost only 1 game, 2-3, one game. It will be a difficult task. And if you know the scheme for these playoffs, it would be important to finish 5th or 6th at least in the league. Then you face the team 11 or 12th. So if we finish 9 or 10 or so, now we face better teams, and we should have the second leg at home if we finish 5th or 6th. But if you look at the Champions League table at the moment, it's ridiculous that Juventus and Real Madrid are in a good position to finish in the top 4. I saw Real Madrid against us at Meadow Park. We were clearly the better team. And I saw Juventus away at Bayern Munich. They were not good. And how can these 2 teams now be in a good position for 3rd and 4th place, and we not? We are not. So we should think about this too, that something is going wrong. We don't have the results that we should have, and therefore just to finish this league phase, go to Leuven and win there. Bring the 3 points, finish 5th or 6th, and then let's see what the draw brings to us for the new year. But anyway, let's finish strong in the Champions League. That's what I hope, and I will travel by train to Leuven for the game. Yesterday I got my ticket. Yeah, and I hope, as always, I'm going to a game and hope that I'll see my team win, and that's my hope for Leuven too. I say we'll win 3-1 and take the 3 points, maybe another step in the right direction. Let's hope for it and be optimistic.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what we need to do, don't we? We need to kind of keep getting these wins and then it help us to build. Top Job says Man City are healthy and looking pretty damn good. Yeah, they are at a minute, but they've done that before and still ended up blowing it. So let's not get too excited for them quite yet. Joe says Renee is getting a lot of the heat. Well, she's the manager, of course she is. The club has to stand up with investment and support her in the squad. I'm not convinced the ambition is there. No, I agree, but I think the fact we appointed Renee as a manager shows the club's ambition, rather than going out and getting a top experienced manager that's a proven manager at the top level, which is what we should have done if the club had ambition. You know, look what Chelsea did to get in there, man. Look what Man City have done. So, I don't know. That to me showed a lack of ambition in the first place. And now Renee is here. You're absolutely right. The club have to back her. We have just bought the first ever £1 million player. So they've backed them that way. But yeah, we need to invest in the squad. You're right. And I totally agree with you. I don't think the ambition at the club is there. I really don't. But let's see what happens. You know, we're not in a bad position. We haven't done as well as I expected that we were going to. LG says Olympic Lauren are not the weakest in our bracket. Another potential banana skin. It's actually impressive they've lost only 3-0 to Barca. Barca usually thrash these kind of teams 8-0. No, you're right. And I didn't actually realise their results were as good as they were, actually, to be fair. I've not really followed. There's too many games in that group for me to keep a track on, really. I looked at the top 3 or 4 in the league. Can we finish in there? Yes, that's what I've been focused on. The teams below us, I've not really been, unless we're playing them. Obviously, I'll focus more on this game after tomorrow. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty. Well, I say it's not impressive to lose 3-0, is it? But it's, you know, for them against Barcelona, that's probably not a bad result, I guess, in the overall scheme of things. But yeah, I think it will be a tough game from what Andreas said. Look at their results; they're going to be a difficult team to beat, aren't they? Especially at home. So we're going to have to play well again. And I think again, if we come into the back of this if we come into this game on the back of a good win against Everton or a good performance against Everton, 3 points, that's going to help give us a bit of confidence. I still think that however good this Lauren team are, whatever their results have been, we're the champions of Europe. We should go away there and we should win. Shouldn't be up for question. We should go there and win. We should be expected to go there. Everybody should expect us to go there and win. Everyone at the club should expect it. The fans should expect it. Everyone in the media and everyone around the world will probably expect us to go there and win, and we should do. I don't care how good they are. They're not one of the top 4, 5, 6 teams in Europe, are they? They're the only team. We shouldn't even really worry about most of them, really. They should be worrying about us. We shouldn't be worrying about a lover and away. We should be going there confident that we're going to win that game. We should expect to win that game. And I do expect us to win that game. I don't think it'll be easy, but I do think we'll win. And I kind of don't really think anything other than a win is good enough, to be quite honest, because they're not one of the top teams in Europe. And I don't care they only lost 3-0 to Barcelona. We beat Barcelona 1-0. You know what I mean? So Rajan's River said, my friend, good to see you again. Hope you're doing well. Terry says, I like this, Lordy, nice and positive and talking with a smile on his face again. Shame we're not talking about Arsenal. We need 2 of the Brazilians who beat England. Well, I think we need, we could do a few new players. I think we know that. Rajendra says, been to all the WSL home games. Well, yeah, so has Andreas. We have lost some games where the defence have been caught off guard. Yeah, exactly. I agree. LG says, my disappointment about the Twente game is that we didn't actually try to improve our goal difference, which might be a factor. Well, I wouldn't say we didn't try. I thought we tried. We just wasn't able to. And that happens sometimes, I suppose. And I think maybe, if we'd beaten Liverpool quite comfortably, if we'd won some of the earlier games comfortably, maybe winning that game 1-0 against Twente with a half decent enough performance, we would have thought nothing of it. But it's just a series of very similar kind of things, isn't it? Playing quite well, scraping a win, not killing a game off and not hanging on at the end, but worrying a bit at the end. Anything can happen in the last 5 minutes of a game if you're only 1 goal up. So that's the reason why. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we did not try to improve our goal difference. We wanted. I'm sure we'd love to have got 2 or 3 goals. We tried. We were unlucky at the crossbar. There was one cleared off the line and a few chances. It just didn't quite go in, did it? But anyway, we've won that game. But we need to go over to Belgium and win, and that is something that we're going to have to play well again. We are going to have to play well again. But we are champions of Europe. It's quite a big thing to have on your shoulders, isn't it? And maybe we've struggled with it this season. And I think that's another factor. You know, winning a trophy, one of the big trophies, is fantastic. And it's difficult to do. But what's harder is following it up. It's always harder. You know, it's no surprise that not many teams win back-to-back of the same trophy. If it's one of the big trophies, it's difficult to do because you've got to carry that weight into the next season, and we're maybe not used to it. You know, this group of players, we've won a few little bits and pieces here and there. Some of them have won WSL titles with us, but it's how you follow it up, and it is tough. And I'm not, you know, I understand that, and I'm prepared to accept that to a certain degree. That it's a big weight to carry around. Everybody wants to beat the champions of Europe, you know, but everyone wants to beat Chelsea in the WSL because they're champions, but they managed to find a way to deal with that because they're used to dealing with it. We're not. And I think that maybe is a part of the problem, but it's something we've got to solve, because it's no good just accepting this season, say, okay, we wasn't quite good enough to follow it up. You know, we need to do something this season still. We need to have a good second half of the season. We need to be challenging for as many of these trophies as we can, and let's hope that we do. And if we have a good January, maybe things will be different. Redemption says, I feel we need a strong midfielder who can really pass like the Brazilian midfielder, and that defender who took care of the England attack. Yeah, I mean, they had a good forward as well, didn't they, Brazil? So, you know, they've got a good team. Joe says, so who is the manager that we should go and get? Renee is a top coach. Who are you replacing with? She may well be a top coach, but we're talking about being a manager of a team that's going to be the top team, you know. There's plenty of managers out there. You know, Man City have gone out and got a manager. Look at what they're doing in the league. You know, Lyon went out and got a new manager, and you know, look who they got. There's managers out there. We're Arsenal. We can pretty much get who we want. It's what ambition of the club got to get somebody else. Renee was an easy choice because there wasn't going to be too much disruption. She knew the players, she knew the club, she knew the style, she knew everything was comfortable with her. There was no disruption made. It wasn't going to upset anybody. It was an easy choice, and she was winning games at the time. Of course, it was an obvious choice. But if the club had really had ambition, we would have gone after the top manager at the time Jonas left. Straight away, we'd have gone for one straight away. We did nothing. We sat on our hands, didn't we, for 3 or 4 months? We'll see how Renee does. We'll give her an opportunity for a few months, see how she gets on. Won a few games, won a few more games, won the Champions League group stage, got us into the knockouts, and suddenly still no decision. You know what I mean? And eventually the club offered her a job, and it's like, were the club convinced by her enough? I don't think they were. They took too long about it, but they decided it was a safer option maybe. And I think you can see that this season. We look like a team that's comfortable, but not striving for more, not pushing each other enough. That's what it looks like from the outside looking in. When we watch it, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but I don't know. Did the club have enough ambition to go for somebody with more experience at the very, very top level? I'm not saying Renee's not a good coach, but is she a top manager at the top level? I'm not convinced she is yet. Maybe she'll prove me wrong. I hope so. Or I will get rid of her, get someone who is, and we'll go on and have success and no one will care. Terry says, having all that weight on your shoulders for being champions, is that why Arteta doesn't want to win nothing? That might be the case, yeah, because it's going to be tough, isn't it? It's going to be tough. It is tough to follow it up. Absolutely it is, of course. LG says that Sam Kerr says Raphael was one of the hardest players she's ever faced. It dawned on me that even now, 2.5 years later, we still haven't replaced her. She was the female version of Gabrielle. Yeah, I was absolutely gutted when she left. And I know it was for her own personal reasons, but yeah, she was brilliant, wasn't she? Fantastic. She could score goals at one end. She was dominant in the air. She was a great defender. And you're right, we haven't replaced her. And yeah, another player that's gone, we haven't replaced. one of a few in the last few seasons. Greg says, René was given a job because she won't argue with Claire Wheatley about getting the best players. Well, maybe. Like I said, it was the easy choice, a safe option, wasn't it? It was a safe option. But she won us the Champions League, and we'll always remember that. And she'll always be remembered for that. No matter what happens in the future, whether she ends up getting sacked at the end of the season, whether she goes on and has even greater success in the future with us, she'll always be remembered as a manager that won us the Champions League. And that's fantastic. But that's a one-off game, really. It was a one-off game. Yeah, okay, we got other games to get there, but it was a one-off game in the final. It's how you build from that's the key. Winning a trophy is great, but you've got to be able to be good enough to build on that. That's what the great managers do. That's what the Pep Guardiolas do. That's what Emma Hayes has done. That's what all the top managers do. They win a trophy and then they go on and win another one and another one, and they keep doing it. And that's how you prove yourself. It's no good winning one trophy and then not winning nothing again for 5 years. That's no good. That's not what top manager. That's not a top manager. This is what we need to see from René. I want to see this from René now. We've still got a chance. I say we've got 5 competitions technically, because we've got that World Club Championship thing as well. So we've technically still got, okay, we probably won't win the WSL, but we've got 4 competitions we can win in 2026. You know, so she's got opportunities there, René, to prove us all, well, to prove me wrong, and win a couple of them. Then we'll say fair enough. Do you know what I mean? But at the moment, I'm not convinced that's what's going to happen. But who knows? Let's see. Let's try and be optimistic, because we're on a good run of results, if not form on the pitch. And we've got another week of 2 winnable games. And if we come away with another 2 wins, we'll have to be happy with that, won't we? Let's be honest. We'll have to be happy with that. So, yeah, looking forward to the game tomorrow, actually, because it's going to be quite interesting to see how Everton respond to that game last week, actually. It'll be quite interesting to see how they play. I'm quite looking forward to that game. And obviously to hope that we can get the win that we need. And who knows, Chelsea might drop more points. We might end up above them this weekend. Wouldn't that be good? Imagine being above Chelsea at Christmas. We would have died for that before the season started, wouldn't we? Imagine if we could have said that you'd be above Chelsea at Christmas. I'd have gone, yes, we'll be top of the league. And as it turns out, we won't be top of the league, but we'll still be above Chelsea. And that's worth celebrating, isn't it, if we can do that? So let's look forward to that, hopefully. Greg says, for the first time in René's press conference, she said she's going to have a say. Well, she did say she was going to. We would have to assume she must have had a say before, although with some of the players she's brought in or that have been brought in, that she's not played. You have to wonder how much of a say she did have. But let's wait and see. Terry says, all them top managers out there, and we get René and Arteta. Yeah, it's the way it is, my friend. That's what the club want. Top Shelf says that the powers above did not change the players after the Champions League. That's not on René. Well, no, maybe it isn't. We don't know what René wanted, do we? We don't know. And did René have a big list of players she wanted us to buy? And in the end, we only got Olivia Smith and obviously Chloe Kelly on a free transfer, and a new goalkeeper that sadly played and wouldn't have played had it not been for Daphne's injury. Is that the club decision? We don't know. And at the end of the day, if this January window, if it's the same as the previous couple of windows, and maybe René doesn't have as much say, and then at the end of the season we don't end up being successful and they get rid of her, would that be her fault or the club's fault? Well, if the club are going to make her become manager, they've got to back her, haven't they, as well? But then they've got to feel that she's the person to back. I don't know. It's tough, isn't it? LG says the club is looking to sign a goalkeeper in January. I don't want a stopgap. I actually want a capable number 2 who will compete with DVD. Manu and Borba are not good enough for that. Well, no, I mean, it's a bit early for Borba, yeah, I suppose. But yeah, I kind of agree with that. We do need to sign a decent number 2. Whether we'll get that in January or not, we might get a stopgap for now and get the real one in the summer. I don't know, but let's see what happens in January. A lot of work needs to be done. I mean, Andreas, obviously, it's been a better week. 2 good wins, 2 big games to come. I mean, where do you feel the club are right now? Obviously, going into the sort of end the first half of the season, where do you see that we are at this moment in time?
Oh, I had some technical problems. I couldn't hear you. So could you repeat your question, please?
Yeah, no, I was just saying, where do you see the club are right at this moment? As we come towards the second half or halfway point in the season, where do you see us right now? as you know, in terms of, you know, do you see us building towards something big for the second half of the season, or do you feel that maybe we're not quite going to be able to follow it through?
No, I think we missed a big chance last summer. And if you see the age profile of our squad, that's a big problem. And this, we ignored this for too long. And the big success in May let us ignore everything. And I think we missed the chance on the transfer window. It was a once in a lifetime chance for Rene as a manager to say, I just won the Champions League. Who wants to come to us and play all games, play in a big stadium at the Emirates with 35,000 average? Every player would have loved to come, and we didn't try hard enough, I think. And the one thing I see very critical is that Renee is she's only under contract until the summer, and she's only our head coach. She's not the manager officially. And what we heard from her is that she doesn't, or she didn't want to have a big influence in recruiting new players, etc. Yeah, of course they were discussing, I think, and probably she had her say or had her opinion, but I think we saw the club signing players that were not especially Rene players. Jenna Niswong as one example. Anneke Borbe seems to be another example. If you sign a new goalkeeper and she doesn't make it into the squad for most of the games, that says enough. And then she had to play because both other goalkeepers are out with injury. Otherwise, Borbe wouldn't have get any minute in this first half of the season. And now Rene says, oh, we will definitely look after a new goalkeeper. So she couldn't make it more clear that she doesn't trust Borbe if she wants another goalkeeper whom she will trust. And so I see us at the moment not as a rising club, but as a club who comes to a point where an overhaul of the squad is necessary, and it's needed. Yeah, the pressure to change something in the squad and to change, especially the age structure in the squad, is growing from transfer window to transfer window, and we missed a few chances, a few transfer windows, so we are not in a good position. Yes, 26 can be a good year. We can still win some trophies, and then in May we will say, oh, it was a great season. Yeah, let's hope so. But even if we win 3 trophies in this season, I'd say it's still a squad or a team that can perform in one game, in a cup final or in a semi-final, but not over 22 games in a season, or yet as we see in the Champions League, over 6 games in a league phase. They are not able to bring week in, week out the best performance, and that's a big problem. Even if we win trophies, what we all hope, but we're in a difficult position, and it will be more difficult in the next transfer windows. So difficult part or difficult development at the moment. Also, if you see Man City is far ahead, Chelsea is throwing money in the transfer market. Chelsea won't be satisfied with being on second position and struggling in Champions League. I think they will buy 2-3 players for whatever it costs in the January window. And Man United, even if their chair doesn't rate the women's team, they always sign good players. And if they can get Lea Schuller from Bayern, a very good striker. They have signed Rolfe, they signed Schuller. It will be difficult to beat them in the second half of the season. So we are in a difficult position at the moment.
Yeah, we seem to be at a bit of a crossroads, don't we? I think from pushing on from that Champions League win and going on having greater success, or maybe failing to build on that completely, and having to rebuild from scratch almost, which seems almost the most likely outcome, really, I suppose. John says there, we've made big investment in the men's team for this season. They don't need a lot spent for next season. That's true. So I see us spending a lot more on the women's team next year. Yeah, I think that's what I mean. The summer could be quite big, because I agree. We probably threw all our money at the men's team last summer. When you think about it, the women's team won the Champions League. Were they not more deserving of extra money last summer just gone, when they just won the Champions League, whereas the men's team had failed yet again? Were the women's team not more worthy of that money? But it didn't happen. They've invested in the men's team. It's obviously paying off so far. And yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe this summer we'll see more investment in the women's team. But surely we're a big enough club that we can afford to invest in both teams at the same time, rather than one year, one the next year. The same financial rules don't apply to the women's team as the men's team. Like, you can't just go out and buy 20 new players for the men's team because of financial fair play. But we can invest in the men's team and the women's team at the same time without having to go. Financial fair play wouldn't come into play. So we can do it. We could do it. Whatever reason we didn't. It'd be interesting to see what does happen this summer, because if you're right, and we do suddenly go a bit mad on the women's team this summer and not so much the men's team because it doesn't need it, makes you wonder why we didn't just do that last season when we were at the top of the world, really. Anyway, Joe says, yeah, but Salty didn't win the Champions League. No, she didn't. But would you? Maybe this is an interesting question for all of us. Would you take the one Champions League that we won last season, or Chelsea's 5 WSL titles in a row, plus the FA Cups they won in that time as well? What would you rather have had? I think, although the Champions League was great, I would rather win the WSL 5 years in a row. I'd rather have what Chelsea had under Emma than what we've had under Renee so far. But that's just me, maybe. It'd be interesting to know what you got. What do you think, Andreas? Would you rather have had Chelsea's last 5 seasons win the WSL, or would you rather have one Champions League win that they've never got? We already won the Champions League before. We didn't need it, did we? That's just a bonus for us.
Yeah, it's a big prestige thing to say we are the only club in England who won the Champions League, and we did it twice. And Chelsea, who is spending millions of pounds season after season, doesn't manage to win it. But we often said the WSL is the daily business, and it's the most important title. So I would prefer to win the WSL. It's too long ago. It was 2019. So it's more than our time now, and or the FA Cup. It's 10 years now that we won it last, and these are the big titles. The league and the FA Cup, prestigious. The FA Cup not only in England but also in the whole world. That everybody knows the FA Cup is something special because of the final at Wembley, and I would like to win one of these titles. Of course, the Champions League was so special and a once in a lifetime experience for me being at Lisbon. I don't want to miss this. This was fantastic, but I would love to win the league in the next years, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. That's the one. That's you're judged on. I think you're judged on how you perform in your domestic league. How you perform in a cup competitions is an extra bonus, and winning and doing well in the Champions League is a massive bonus. But ultimately, it's how you perform week in, week out in your domestic league, year after year, season after season. That's what shows. That's what shows you as a great team. Technically, anybody can win a cup competition once. Anybody can. If it goes your way and you get a little bit of luck along the way, you perform well in the games you need to. If you're a half-decent team, you've got a chance of winning cups. But to win a league, that takes something different. And that's the one thing that we haven't quite managed to find in the last, 7 years. And that's a long time for Arsenal to go without winning the league, the longest we've ever gone. So it is something that needs to be put right. And I definitely would. I would swap the last 5 seasons that Chelsea have had with the last season that we've done. That they may feel the same. They may swap with us because they've never won the Champions League. They may have rather lost all them league titles and had that one Champions League. Maybe their fans would do. Maybe them as a club would do. I don't know. I feel the other way around. I would be happier now sitting here if we'd won 5 WSL titles in a row and not won the Champions League last season. I'd feel much happier with life and more happier as where the club's heading, the ambition of the club. But obviously, we'll take the Champions League. But anyway, we'll see. Regina says there, Mido is not at her shooting best, so she has adapted to passing intelligence. No, I think she's playing all right. Yeah, I agree. Greg says, if we keep Russo as the main striker, surely we should build an attack around her rather than players who don't supply her the support. Yeah, absolutely. Regina says, I would have all WSL and Champions. Well, of course, yeah, we'd like to win them all, but I don't think that was not quite an option, is it? Because no one's managed to do that, not even Chelsea. Greg says it shows what we're like. We won the Champions League, and the club hasn't brought out anything like road to the final. Well, yeah, imagine if the men's team won the League Cup, they'd bring out a DVD of it, wouldn't they? Let's be honest. You know, with Arteta's big face on the front holding the trophy, that's what the men's team would do. We won the Champions League, and they've done nothing. You're right. That's ridiculous, really. Regina says the team won the first Champions League. We won everything domestically. Exactly, that's what I mean. That's exactly it. That's what I'm saying. That's what this team should be doing. And if they don't, it's a failure. Really, it is a one-off Champions League and nothing either side. Okay, we won a couple of League Cups, but if that's what it is, if that's what it ends up being in 5 years' time, if this Champions League was just a one-off thing that we won and we didn't build on it, that's a failure. It's a failure of epic proportions by everybody at the club. Really, not to build on that. But you're absolutely right. When we won it before, we was winning all the domestic cups as well. We won the quadruple that season. We didn't lose a game domestically. We won everything, and we won everything again the season before, the seasons after. That's what it's about. I'm not saying that's now the women's game's different. It's stronger, but we should have that ambition to do that. I don't get the feeling the club have had that ambition. It's almost like they were satisfied with winning the Champions League. We overperformed last season, and they were happy with that. Sat back. We've won the Champions League. We're in the Club World Cup. How brilliant are we? Patting themselves on the back rather than building to create this dynasty of success that Chelsea did under Emma. And they're sort of continuing it to a certain degree up till now anyway. But, yeah, I don't know. It's not – yeah, I want more, really, than just one Champions League, if that's what it turns out to be. LG says, no more stopgap players like Lacasse or D'Angelo. Let's sign players like Stanway or Ball who'll actually raise the levels of the team. We're signing Holmberg, who's just another blonde Swede. No, there's nothing wrong with blonde Swedes, but I agree with you. We need to be bringing players in that's going to lift the level up. We did with Mariona, didn't we? We got Mariona in, lifted the level, but what we haven't done is we haven't added more Marionas, have we? Or players of that kind of level. That's what we need. You're right. I agree with you 100%. If we do that, we're going to be successful, aren't we? Of course we are, because we've already got a decent group of players, but we don't have those level lifters, do we? We don't have enough of them. Leslie Russo is one. Obviously, Mariona's one when she's playing in her right position, but we haven't really signed enough of them players. Maybe Olivia Smith will be when she settles in and better and gets a little bit more experience. But yeah, you're right. I agree with you. That's what we need to be doing more of. I would 100% agree with you. Terry says 7 years ain't long winning anything. Ask Arteta. Well, he's not quite gone 7 years yet, has he? But it's not going to be far off. LG says, remember when we won the WSL in 2019, and how did we respond in the summer? We signed Leonie Mayer, BT, Manu, and Stenson, and Chelsea got Guru Wright and Kerr. That was the start of our downfall. Yeah, pretty much sums it up pretty well. And it's a similar thing now, isn't it? We've won the Champions League, and apart from Olivia Smith, who have we really brought in so far? But it's still, we've still got another transfer window to come. So let's see. But yeah, I agree. I think the club's slightly stagnating at the minute, and winning the Champions League or not hasn't made any difference to that, it seems. Have we missed out on an opportunity, or is it still there that we can still get something back from that? Let's hope so. And there's still lots to play for this season, so let's not get too down in the dumps about it. There's still a lot to play for. It still could be a massive season. It still could be a really massive season where we've broken more records, won trophies that we wouldn't have expected. So I'm not giving up hope yet, but I'm not optimistic that that's going to happen. I hope it does. I'm just not expecting it to. I'm kind of thinking, I don't know, but we always live in hope, don't we? That's what being a football fan's about, isn't it? It's all about hope, isn't it? We hope to have success. Whether we actually achieve it or not is what it's about, isn't it? It's that uncertainty when it comes to Arsenal. Chelsea, where you are. They probably are going to win everything pretty much domestically. We don't expect that, really. We hope it's going to happen, and when it does, it's great. But it's also maybe means a bit more because it's not as expected, maybe. But we'll see. At the end of the day, we're in 4 competitions still. Well, technically 5, but 4 that we've got a chance of winning. So let's see where we end up. But yeah, we need a big January really, and we need improvements on the pitch in the second half of the season. We need to have a big week now. We need to win these next 2 games as well, don't we? So let's hope we do. But anyway, we shall see what happens. I'm sure we're going to enjoy it, even though I don't like the 12 o'clock kickoffs. Terry says, nothing wrong with siding Super Gen B. Well, no, obviously nothing wrong with siding Super Gen B at all. Absolutely not. So, yeah, that's it then for the show this week. It's been a good show, obviously. Yes, I think we're realistic about what's going on. I don't want to, pretend everything's fantastic when it isn't. We're struggling a little bit, aren't we? We're struggling to find our form. Players are struggling. The team's kind of struggling a little bit. Yes, it's all relative. Our struggles are, we're in a top 3, top 4 in the league. We've qualified for the playoffs in the Champions League. It's not the end of the world. It's just from Arsenal, I don't think we're playing as well as we are. We seem to have a few struggles going on, and that's, there's no point trying to pretend we don't. Let's not, let's be realistic. It is what it is. We're not playing as well as we can, and we need to get better. Greg says that's the way of football. We expect to win, but teams like Everton get a lift by winning. Yeah, exactly. Of course they do. They'll get a massive win if they beat us. Having beaten Chelsea last week. Christ. James says, I heard Smith was not 100% fit when she was playing earlier. Now she's recovered and got fouled in the Champions League. Well, yeah, she definitely got fouled the other night. Top Joe says, night all go guns indeed. Thank you for joining us. Thanks everyone for joining us, actually. I hope you've enjoyed the show. I've enjoyed your comments as always. Great to get you guys involved. Of course, Andreas, back from a busy trip to London, back in on familiar grounds. Have you enjoyed the show again this week?
Yeah, of course I did, and I don't want to sound too negative, but I think it's our right as supporters to be critical, and that's what we are. And as I always say, support doesn't depend on success. So even if I'm disappointed after a game or sound disappointed in the match day vlog, for the next game I'll be there again. And yeah, you see, I'll be in Leuven mid of next week to support my team. And yeah, it's always nice to discuss this here on the show with you and with our viewers. I enjoyed it, and thanks to everyone watching my vlog, and thanks to Greg. I'm wearing the watch you gave me as a gift. Thank you, Greg, once again.
Oh wow, fantastic! See, it's Christmas, a time for giving presents. No, I mean it is good, isn't it? And it's you're right, and I think as fans, doesn't mean you can't be critical when you feel it's deserved. It'd be pointless us sitting here if we were top of the league, winning every game. What would we have to criticise? Nothing. We wouldn't be criticising at all, would we? We'd be sitting here just like loving life every week. That's not the reality of it, is it? The reality is we are not playing as well as we expect to be playing. We're struggling a little bit to get the wins that we need, and we're not in the position in the WSL where we expect it to be at this point in the season. And that's the reality of it. And if us being talking about the reality of where we are, it makes it seem negative, then that's not our fault. That's the fault of where the team are. So look at that. Don't look at us. We're just telling you what's happening, and we're giving our opinion on it because it's not quite what we expected. It's not as good as we expected, that's not our fault. We're not out on the pitch there. We're not at the training ground coaching the players, picking the team. Look at the ones that are doing that. If you're not happy with what's happening, and if you're not happy with us being realistic about it, then look at why. That's the issue, isn't it? Is it the club not investing? Is it the manager not good enough? Are some of the players? Is there problems there? All these questions need to be asked, and until we get the answers on the pitch by the team playing better and winning games and winning trophies, we've got a right to question, haven't we? And I think that's fine. It makes following football what it is. Things aren't. We're Arsenal fans. Come on, it's never easy, is it? We never go through life easy, do we? There's always problems. There's always issues that we've got to deal with. It's how you deal with them, but ignoring them and let's pretend everything's fantastic isn't the best way to deal with any problem, is it? The best way to deal with a problem is to talk about it, and hopefully from all that, things improve. I mean, we know the biggest problem is when they stop watching the show, because you watched it last season, obviously. Jonas used to watch it. Obviously, he did. And now, for some reason, Renee's decided not to. I don't know why. And you can see that's the biggest problem. So she actually needs to watch the show again. That's what needs to happen. And I'm sure if she does, things will improve. That's the one thing that's missing, isn't it? It's the one thing that's missing, definitely. Terry says, hit that like and subscribe button before the lights go out. Covered you go, girls. Indeed. Please do that as well. Regenda says, that's what supporter we are. Follow the team through things. Exactly. Follow it through thick and thin. And when it isn't quite so good, let's not pretend it is. Let's just say, it's not as good as we want. These are maybe reasons why. And this is what we want to see. And there's nothing wrong with that, is there? So, but it's always good stuff. And I say, if you haven't checked out Andreas's vlogs from the last week or so, please do so, because they are always good, always entertaining, as you'd expect. And of course, there is a good appearance from Gunnosaurus as always as well in the latest one. So that's always nice. So look out for that. And I'm assuming there'll be even more great stuff from Belgium this week as well. We've got a bonus being thrown in there. We've had one from Bayern Munich, one from Belgium. Christ, it's all happening. Regina says, hey, the WSL now have a good set of teams. So we will improve. Yeah, I agree. We do. The standards improving everywhere. But we almost feel like we're tagging on at the back a little bit rather than leading the way like we always did. And we need to get that balance better now. We need to, instead of being at the back holding on for dear life not to get left behind, we need to move up and be the team that's leading the way. We've got the opportunity to do that, Champions of Europe, so we need to make the most of it. Greg says, night, all have a great weekend and a great Christmas. I'm busy next few weeks, so I might not be able to join you. Oh, okay, yeah, well, if you don't see you, Greg, have a great Christmas, my friend, and, take it easy, and, all the best to you and your family and everything else, and we look forward to seeing you in the new year. Anyone else, if you can't, we won't be having that many more shows now. We'll have one next Friday, of course, because, we've got games still to play, so we look at that, and that'll probably be it, won't it, until the new year. So we don't have much going on either coming up to Christmas, but if anyone's not going to be around next week, have a good Christmas and stuff, and we'll obviously see you in the new year. Terry says, take care, Greg, and have a good Christmas. Yeah, indeed. But hopefully we'll see you before Christmas, because we'll be here for the Liverpool game and the Champions League midweek. We've got the show next Friday. There'll be a Crystal Palace game as well coming up for you, and so there's still going to be loads of stuff. There'll be vlogs to come as well, so we've still got some great stuff here between now and the end of 2025. And we'll also, of course, have to do our end of year review. I wonder what we'll focus on in that. I wonder what happened in 2025 that we could talk about. Well, we'll find something, I'm sure. But we'll worry about that soon in a couple of weeks' time. So, yeah, thanks for joining us, guys. Take it easy. Thanks for watching. Thanks to Andreas, of course, as always. Thanks to all you guys for your comments. Please like, share, and subscribe. Welcome back, Terry, as well. It's been great to see you, my friend. Great to have you back on the show. We have missed you a lot. So that's been good. We look forward to seeing a few more of your crazy score predictions as well. That's what we want. And Regenda as well. I haven't seen Regenda for us. So everyone's coming back tonight. It's good. How about the transfer window? Yeah, we need a good transfer window. Let's keep our fingers crossed for a good transfer window as well. I'm sure we will. So that's it for tonight. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the game tomorrow as well. It's going to be a good one, I'm sure. We'll see you, of course, midweek for the Champions League game, and hopefully it's going to be another good week. So take it easy, guys. Enjoy the weekend, and come on, you Gunners. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.